For the betterment of Cobalt and its people, I call this meeting to order. 6:29. Disclosure of pecuniary interests and general nature thereof.
I have for the discussion on the rink, 4.1. I'll stay out of it.
Public meetings, none. 4 delegations and deputations. 4.1, the Cobalt Golden Age Club Community Ice Rink. I assume everybody has read the letter from the Golden Age Club. I really like the end of it there. They're showing that they are supporting this, assuming all their concerns are taken care of. Number 5, adoption of meeting agenda. Yes.
I'd like to have an amendment to item number 11, the closed session. Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001. 2D, labor relations or employee negotiations.
Okay, can I get a mover? Harry, seconded by Doug. All in favor? Carried. Number 6, approval of previous council minutes. Draft motion, be it resolved that council approve the following minutes as presented. Regular meeting of council, October 18th, 2022. Inaugural meeting of council dated November 15th, 2022. Special meeting, November 28th, 2022. Special meeting, November 30th, 2022. And committee of the whole meeting dated December 6th, 2022. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Mover, Pat, seconded by Gary. All in favor? Carried. Seven, items for council consideration, 7.1, soup kitchen. So, everybody's gone over their notes on that. And what's the discussion on that? Be it resolved that council and staff report 2022.12.20.1 as presented. I'm not going to say anything other because we don't know yet what we're going to go on that.
I think there's liability issues attached to that. A lot of them.
Angela?
I would like to see the council, I know that we're looking at making the space usable by the public again. I'd like to see us also review the cost for renting the space. In general, I believe it's important for the space be able to be used by the community at, about a break-even basis as far as it does cost. The towns would be nice to know what it would cost and if they would be able to then look at someone to sponsor them to cover those costs to use the space. I'm not against them using the space, but the costs do need to be covered.
I agree with you, Harry, with the the liability issues if it becomes a town-sponsored project there. And the other thing is a kitchen hasn't been used in so long, and I know health unit rules have changed. So we're going to have a clean crew in there, spick and span, and then see how much upgrades are going to cost. Because I bet you that dishwasher back the last time I used it before COVID was use the language. We ended up washing all the dishes by hand. Was that bad? I think the ventilation in there would probably have to be upgraded. There's probably going to be a lot of upgrades in there. So we need, before we even do that, or you know, like the dinner like you proposed last time too. We've got to find out what it's gonna cost to get that kitchen up to scratch. And hopefully we can do it because it would be nice to get this place open and that kitchen used and everything.
I agree. Gary, you had a question?
I was just gonna say, I'd like to get maybe further into the budget for next year before we start making promises on, paying for things ongoing.
Doug, do you have anything to throw in there?
Oh, just, I agree pretty much with what everybody's been saying. It might be premature at this point in time to consider this. I'm especially interested in seeing what our budget's going to be and monies that we have available, because we have a lot of really big expensive items coming up over our 4-year term. And yeah, I would say we have to delay.
Jim, do you have anything to add?
I think basically said everything that I'd say anyways. Not more.
Okay. I agree. I think it's a little too early at this point. Oh, sorry, Andrew.
Oh, no, if you're still discussing, I was going to put forward the motion.
Okay. Well, be resolved that council receives staff report 2022.12.20.1 as presented and declines the request from Shani Christo and Barb Dombrowski to provide the following assistance with the operation of the soup kitchen. Assist them with securing a place to host monthly, free of charge, further frequencies to be determined, and 2, provide financial assistance on an ongoing basis. In addition to all the points that the councilors just made now. Yes, sir.
Vote on this, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
Harry?
Against.
Did we get a seconder for that motion, Your Honor?
Okay.
Worship?
We did now, Doug.
I know. Sure.
I want to have one.
Against the proposal as it was made that we would allow free use and provide funding.
Oh, I see. So that's the problem
Against it this time anyway.
at this point.
Mhm.
Can I get a seconder for that, please? Jim? Okay, so Harry was against use?
I guess.
Against. Counselor Hunter,
Against.
Counselor Starcher,
I regretfully say against. I'd like to see it happen eventually though.
Counselor Wilcox.
I'm not sure if I'm reading this right, but I think we're all for declining
Oh,
as opposed to.
that's a
a
really
vote.
good
One
point.
you pick.
That's-
The next
okay.
one down is.
Okay, yeah, maybe we need to.
Do over.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because there's two motions there, isn't it?
So do we support the motion?
Yeah, that's why there only should have been one motion, not 2 in here, right?
Mhm.
Because now there's confusion.
I was confused.
Mhm.
So which one are we voting on?
So we're voting on the declining one, yes, which would be
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
first one, yes. So we had Counselor Cooper, Counselor Hughes, Hunter, Starcheck and Wilcox, and the Counselor Anderson.
Or declining.
That's unanimous. I'm also against. Okay, hopefully in the future, we can get that back up and running. Item 7.2, bank signatories. Draft motion. Whereas all financial transactions and banking instruments required 2 signatures on behalf of the corporation, and the corporate account requires a file update for the term of council. Now therefore be it resolved that council authorize Mida Gibson and Stephen Daly as primary signatory and Doug Wilcox and Dale Taylor as alternate signatory. Can I get a mover? Gary, seconded by Angela. All in favor? Carried. Seven point three, holiday schedule. Draft motion, be it resolved that council accept the staff report as presented at the committee of the whole meeting December 6, 2022, and approves the holiday schedule. Public notice to be given. Can I get a mover? Pat? Seconder, Gary? Discussion,
If I may, your worship.
yes, please.
I understand the gentlemen at Public Works have requested the same consideration be extended to them over the Christmas holidays. I would propose that we amend this. I guess we'd be amending the holiday schedule itself to include Public Works employees. Noting that Public Works employees would still be expected to come out in the event of emergencies. or anything like that.
Mhm.
They have so indicated they would.
Yes, please. Can I vote on that, please? All in favor?
Did we have a mover and a seconder?
Yeah, Pat and Gary. Sorry, mover, all in favor?
Mhm.
Carried. Committee / board appointments. Draft motion, be it resolved, council approve the following appointments nominees. Temiskaming Transit, Councillor Anderson. Cobalt Public Library, Councillor Wilcox. Cobalt Water Commission, Councillor Cooper.
Can you hold up there first?
Yep.
Harry also put his name in for that last meeting.
I did, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. ESAB, Councillor Hunter will be put in as a nominee for the area. And the Board of Health, Councillor Anderson, and will also be going in as a nominee for the area representation. An ad seeking members at large for the Library Board and Water Commission will be posted online and I believe at the office. Yep. Can I get a mover on that, please? Doug? And a seconder? Pat? All in favor? Carried. 7.5, Public Works Vehicle. Draft motion, whereas staff was requested to review the options for adding an additional pickup truck to the Public Works fleet. And whereas 3 quotes were obtained from local auto dealers and reviewed with the Public Works mechanic, therefore be it resolved that council receive staff report 2022.12.20.2 as presented and approves the recommendation for the Ford F-150 lease quotes. Can I get a mover on that? Gary, and a seconder? Pat? Discussion.
If we're going with a lease, at the end of the term, there's the buyout option. And then at that point, are we going to finance it? Or buy it out or just do more leasing?
Steve?
Was speaking with the mechanic and public works superintendent, we'd see how, because those vehicles now have a turbo boost and they wanted to see how it would go over that time period. Because at the end of the day, after 4 years, if we're not happy with it, just return it at that time, or if we want to purchase it. That's why I was looking at the lowest rate of 2.99% interest. Finance rates are a little higher with the other options of the vehicles there, so.
Because it seemed like if we bought it out, I'm not a mechanic to know the quality level of the vehicles. I don't want to make they brand, but the one that wasn't the lease, we'd end up owning. And it would cost a little bit less in the long term, but we would own it, but it makes sense.
6.99% on the other finance one,
Yeah.
but I did contact that dealership. And if we wanted to go, but it was 72 months, it would be at 1.49% of a finance rate. So it'd be longer out and still high. And that's why I just wanted the option of after 4 years. Seeing that discretion of Public Works, liked it or not.
Pat?
Yeah, and I would say especially when we've never had a turbo boost, a safe way to test it out. As to what it's gonna be like for for plowing and stuff like that too, and the work it's gotta do. We'll know in the 4 years whether it's worthwhile or not.
I'd like to see us get identical pickup to what we already have that's naturally aspirated with an 8-foot box and a regular cab.
That is
Yeah,
quite,
they're a proven truck. Why try something new and end up failing it? You know, that's, this one here only has a 6.5-foot box and the gun extended cab, which does nothing but collect junk. I can vouch for it.
we all got one of those, yeah.
Doug,
I guess my feeling on it is similar to Harry's, I guess. I think we should be looking at utility vehicles, things that, 4 wheels, a motor, a heater, and an 8-foot box that are useful. But something that's cheap and cheerful and will do the job. A bench seat in the front, so you can have 3 guys in it, you want to carry students. But I don't think we need crew cabs, and I don't think we need all the bells and whistles, and I'm not a mechanic either, and I don't understand turbos that much, but I understand they can be frightfully expensive to fix.
Gary,
How desperate or how long are we out for waiting for a truck?
Yeah.
We should have it right away, or we have 6 months to wait.
A vehicle at this time.
To get something like that, pick and choose, we might be out 5, 6, 7 months waiting.
Talking to the dealership about getting a specially made one. He advised me that it's about 4% of Ford's total sales. So 96% of the vehicles that they're selling are like 8-foot box,
single cabinet.
and single cab. So the wait on that may be 6 to 9 months, if not longer. It wasn't a true date.
That's what I got from your report was that, it's what's available locally now. Because they do need that.
Well, then would it make sense to go on more like a 1-year lease to test out the turbo and see if the truck makes sense? Just make it shorter term?
Yeah, I had a process, a 3-year quote or a 3-year lease on it, and it was quite high, the payments. So I believe I've had that in the report as well. But for availability, and with how COVID has hit the industries right now, any options or any specialty items would be more to the back burner and with surplus of what they have.
Doug,
Just a thought, perhaps someone could be using their own vehicle and getting mileage until a vehicle of our choice became available.
Angela?
How much do we use that vehicle in the winter? Is it more of a summer? Like, I don't exactly know what it's used for.
More. So, well, we'd need a vehicle for public works superintendent to do the roads. Yeah. No, well, just to do a tour, just to see how the roads are. It's part of the winter operations. So using the crew cab, usually in the summer, bring students to the workplaces, items like that. So there is, I know in the winter that tend to use more of the snow plow and that, but when they're not, we have 5 individuals with 2 vehicles.
Harry?
The thing about leases is if in 2 years we get rid of it, then we've thrown that money away. Right? Or if it's a purchase, at least we can trade it off on something else. I don't like the option of a lease at all.
Lease a tax write-off for the town. I know when I used to lease a car, I used to write it off my taxes. Says, is it not that way with the town?
Look into that.
Yeah, did that, even the purchasing a vehicle. for the-
To go with this lease too is they have what those gap protection. So just say if the vehicle does get into an accident over that time, and we still owe $50,000 for the vehicle and it's only worth 45, the entire 50 amount would be written off. There would be nothing for the town to pay in that extra.
Angela?
That was another concern, is that with the town, we never know, like, we are using it for work purposes. If it gets dinged, I've heard that people end up paying a lot when they take it back. So you're saying there's like an insurance?
There would be if it was written off.
But not,
Oh,
excuse me, but not if it was just damaged.
No, that would be normal wear and tear, just like anyone else.
Barry?
I'd like to see us come back to the table again on this with actual purchases and wait times. Defer it until the new year.
Any other, Doug?
Yeah, the thought about damage, like it's a work truck and Public Works tosses all kinds of things into, around and near trucks, so. Whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna be dents and bruises and paint scrapes and all kinds of things, so. Again, that goes back to my thought of getting a utility truck, but we're not gonna worry about it too much. And of course, when we buy them, we tend to run them into the ground. We run a mechanic who services them regularly, takes good care of them, and they last a lot longer than we might otherwise expect. So I like the purchase option just because then it becomes an asset. And if we can pay for it over 7 years in the past 14, we've got 7 free years to save up for a new one.
Any, go ahead.
Oh, just on the leasing side, as far as I know, you have to have a qualified income that you can write a lease off against. And I don't think the municipality has an income of that nature.
Okay.
Okay. So defer till our January 10th meeting.
Was it-
More concrete dates on that.
Should we vote on the deferral? I think there's a general consensus.
That'd be a move to defer then.
Yep.
Did you move to defer?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
So Barry and Angela. January 10th. Okay, all in favor on that, on the deferral? All carried. Seven point six, Public Works additional staff. Draft motion be it resolved that council receives staff report 2022.12.20.3 as presented and approves the recommendation to hire a laborer for winter operations under section 6.06 of the collective agreement. Temporary employee or seasonal employee. Can I get a mover on that? Pat? The seconder? Doug? Discussion? Pat?
Looking out the window now, the time has come to hire. You know, and won't be able to wait too much longer. We might get away, we get away with it until January 1st or whatever. Won't be able to get it that fast, but as soon as possible, I think. But that extra person has always been very beneficial in the winter time.
So maybe Steve, can you touch, just kind of expand what the difference would be between an employee and a seasonal employee, sorry, temporary employee and seasonal?
Well, for a seasonal employee, as per with the collective agreement, it would be for up to 7 months. So there is no set time over that. Just say 1 week, we need someone for 30 hours. Or in the following week, maybe 15 hours, like we can work with those hours. If we're going part-time or even casual, but part-time max is 24 hours, 1 week. So therefore, if we get 3 snowfalls within that week, no time. As for a casual, there's no guarantee either that the individual at home might. Casual.
Any other discussion on that? So what would council like to see? A temporary or a seasonal employee?
Seasonal. Actually, it falls under the same category, the temporary.
Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, Doug?
I would say let's go seasonal for this season. And we can, once we know the budget and we're more comfortable with numbers, we could look at whether or not we want to take on full-time. Full-time is also very useful in Public Works, and it's nice to have a 5-man crew working. That gives us the best optimization. But, I'd like to be comfortable with the money and see what we're doing.
Any further discussion?
And like the winter person brought on, whether it was temporary, seasonal, each year has been a good way to evaluate workers too. Before, we need another full-time. I think a lot of our crew has come on board that way. And been evaluated, over a winter season. And then chosen down the line. Gives us a good basis for that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of the seasonal worker? All carried. 7.7, parking permits. Draft motion, whereas at the committee of the whole meeting, December 6, 2022, council received a presentation from the Public Works and Bylaw Enforcement staff regarding the annual issuing of parking permits. And whereas staff and resident feedback is that the permits have caused confusion and that public education is a better tool to ensure residents comply with winter operations regulations. And whereas staff recommends that this practice be discontinued, therefore be it resolved that council approves of the recommendation and directs staff to eliminate the issuing of parking permits for residents effective immediately. Am I going to move her on that? Carrie? Seconder? Jim? Any discussion on that? All in favor? Carrie. 7.8, ad hoc committee to review and amend procedural bylaw. Draft motion, whereas at the regular meeting of October 18th, 2022, council repealed bylaw number 2018-36, a bylaw to establish the rules of procedure of council, which has served councils for the last preceding 30 years. And whereas at the same meeting, council adopted bylaw number 2022-25, a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council. And whereas bylaw number 2025-25 is not reflective of the process necessitated by the current council to govern their meetings and will require amendments. Now therefore be it resolved that an ad hoc committee of council be formed with a mandate to review both procedural bylaw and recommend amendments to council as they become available in order to prepare a more functional bylaw while adhering to the legislation within the municipal act. And that the said committee completed review prior to December 31st, 2023, and that council receives staff report 2022.12.20.4 as presented. Am I going to move her? Doug? Seconder on that? Carrie? Discussion on that? Doug?
Well, we have to pick members to sit on it. Certainly I would like to be, and I think
I
there
would,
should be.
I would definitely, yep.
Maybe another, Harry, you want to be on?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the only other add-on that I would put there is, and I'm quite pleased to note that Peggy, our integrity commissioner, has volunteered her time free of charge when she's available to sit in on it so that we're on the straight and narrow. So I would like her name written in as a member of the committee on an as available basis.
Staff too.
Yes.
We need a member of staff.
We do need a staff for now because it's in our procedural bylaw. Yeah, I won't speak to ones that I want to do later. We'll just get this up and going and then we can have our meetings and get back to you as quickly as we can on some amendments, at least get the ball rolling.
All right. All in favor on that? All carried. 7.9, NOHFC Wellness Center Funding Agreement. Draft motion. Whereas at the committee of the whole meeting, December 6, 2022, council was informed of the pending funding from NOHFC, Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation, for $90,000, $90,360 for a wellness center at 24 Prospect Avenue, being the Fraser Building. Be it resolved that council receives staff report 2022.12.20.5 as presented, and the town of Cobalt declined the signing of the wellness center funding agreement. And further that council reevaluate the project for consideration in the future. Can I get a mover on that, please? Angela? Seconder, Pat? Discussion on that, please. Angela?
Sort of not directly, but because, since we're sending this back, would we be able to then make a new application since it says we could apply in the future? Is it only for like a wellness center exercise thing, or is that a future potential place where we could maybe look at upgrading?
It was only as a specified funding for the project, yeah, for repairs on the building. Maybe you can expand on that a bit, Steve.
Well, knowing that the cost now for a wellness center has exceeded what was put in for the application back in. So what I stated here, what a possibility was rescind it right now and to do redo an application with them with all for the requirements that we need.
And do they only fund exercise wellness, or could we just do something totally different?
We would have to check with the funder and see what's available.
Any further discussion?
And I agree, like there's no way we can do it. It's 100,000 when we started planning it. By the time we got partway through to COVID, the 100,000 wasn't quite covering it even then, and now it's gone up and up, and then there's the ventilation, other stuff that's wasn't thought of then. And no, it's gonna be way, way more. So we just can't do that.
Do we have any sort of future cost estimated that'll be per year or for next 10 years or anything like that? What that will cost us to run it? Keep it going.
What do you need specifically?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna need to secure a building for one, so that's gonna be step one. Just figuring out where we're gonna do it. Yep. Any,
Be great to have, would be wonderful.
Pat?
Yeah, running it before, actually with the fees that were charged for going in. It pretty well covered everything. It was a little up, a little down sometimes, but it was pretty well even for all the years that it was going, and it worked well. And definitely, we're still hearing people saying, why didn't you get it done? Why didn't you get it done? Well, code came.
Oh, certainly.
But yeah, it's a good project. It's just to make sure that, we've got everything on the list we need and to get the appropriate funding now at today's prices.
Okay.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Carried. 7.10, community dinner. Draft motion. Whereas Mayor Gibson expressed an interest in the town hosting a community dinner in mid-January 2023 at the community hall. And whereas the community hall must meet the requirements for the public event, be it resolved that council receives staff report 2022.12.20.6 as presented and directs staff to have the required inspection completed before commitment is confirmed. Can I get a mover on that, please? Jim, and seconder Pat. Discussion? Pat?
Yeah, let's, I think, direct staff to have the required inspections completed. It's the way to go. And then we've got to look at the costs to bring it back up, to an appropriate facility there. And then we'll go.
I think this is probably a lot of our arguments from the soup kitchen kind of
It's exactly.
correlate, kind of overlap each other a little bit.
We'll get there.
Maybe we'll wait, budget wise, all that,
Anybody else? Can I get a vote on that? Oh, Doug?
If you really want a dinner, I'm free to come over to your place.
Okay. Legs Doug. Can I get a vote on that, please? All in favor? Carried. Seven point 11, community ice rink. Draft motion, whereas Mayor Gibson proposed the municipality establish an outdoor community ice rink at the Golden Age Club parking lot. And whereas staff was directed to contact the municipal insurer for advice, and whereas concerns have been brought forward from the Golden Age Club, be it resolved that council receives staff report 2022.12.20.7 as presented and recommends discussion with the Golden Age Club continue in order for the community ice rink to move forward. Can Can I get a mover, please? Jim? Seconded by Gary. Discussion on that?
I'm
Angela?
just wondering about process. So we're encouraging more discussion and then it'll come back to us in January. And so maybe at the end of January, if all goes well.
So there's a bit of an update on this. The Golden Age Club has a lease with the town that is strictly for the building. That parking lot is town owned. And I believe there's 5 lots there, including the building on that the Golden Age Club is leasing. So that shifts everything a little bit, you know. So basically what we want to be doing is addressing concerns that they have to, you know, not have, you know, any errors or any damages to property or avoid all those things. And basically looking for use of the water, hopefully. And if that can't happen, then we can look at other way or another supplier for water. But as far as the parking lot, that is a town-owned parking lot.
So can I propose a change to the resolution or an addition? That would be, trying to figure out the exact wording here, but that if we're able to address the concerns of the Golden Age Club, that we in principle approve moving forward.
That's what I would like to see.
Skating rink. That way we don't have to wait till February or, so that,
If all goes well, we have 16 weeks of skating. You know, so that's what I would like to see happen. Gary?
If the building's the only thing with the Golden Age Club they own, then there isn't much discussion with them, really.
No.
Except for use of the water, and they've been aware that we're not gonna go and change in there and stuff.
Yeah, so the major concern with the community or the Golden Age Club was use of the building. That was the big red flashing light there. That was never the intention. The intention for the building was if they wanted to do fundraising. Right, providing
Set up a canteen. or something.
canteen or something along those lines. So Jim?
We're also worried about if a hockey puck goes and breaks another windows, whatever, or the building itself was liable for that.
I'm not sure at this time who would be liable for that. But there's a lot of things the town can do with snowbanks, with snow fence even, and to mitigate that. Argentite sits about 6 feet above the rink level. So there's almost you know, a natural
It shouldn't
fence there.
along the road.
Yeah, so there shouldn't be any issues with that. And then the town could even build a bank up further to that if they needed to, right? Presley Street is quite a ways away, so there's no issue there. It would just be anything heading, it would be north. Yeah. Harry?
You get anything back from our insurer on it yet?
Not dollar values, but as I stated in my report, what he mentioned, discussed about is how to go about this. But yeah, like if you look at the report there, number 2, town can partner. Ideally, having a supervisor where the ice is open is a good idea, but budgets are what they are, is not always feasible. Ice surface needs to maintain and kept in good repair. You need to put up your rules, definitely what can and can't do. One possibility to discussing is maybe until all the seating stuff is put up, maybe skating and then hockey at a later date, just to offset some of the liabilities. So that's another route that.
I would agree with that. And that way we can get the ball rolling on ice, because that's gonna be the biggest thing getting. Jim?
Should know the rules about all this stuff, but if a function like this or a place, shouldn't you have, are you supposed to have bathroom facilities available to the people using it, or is that just use at your own risk?
Speaking as to Temiskaming Shores outdoor rinks, there are no bathroom facilities for people.
Okay, all right, yeah, I wasn't sure about that. Okay.
With respect to the caution about pucks and flying pucks, I go back to the days in high school when we used to play hockey down in the arena. And I used to be the goalie, and I found out because it hit my shin that they were using kind of a little, not a hard rubber puck, but a very soft kind of a puck. And perhaps we just say, we gotta use something.
I
that
think
will-
they're orange, like a foam puck.
Yeah, that idea. And we just say, that's the kind of puck, if you're gonna play hockey, that's what you gotta use.
That's another option.
It's a thought. As a goalie, I liked it,
Any further discussion? Steve?
One thing, staff recommended maybe just get it's gonna be, it's just for safety reasons, just in case any, because there was hydro going there. Or liability.
Okay, any further discussion on that? So all in favor on that going through?
On what exactly? So are we adding that we are in fact approving the ice rink as long as we can?
Get the locate and everything done and.
Sorry, Jim.
What's the stipulation they had in their letter at the very end, when you read that, about looking to all options about using tech park?
Yes, yeah. So
Come up with a report on that.
So Tech Park there's an accessibility issue because the road is not plowed. There's an accessibility issue with regard to crossing the tracks. And there's an issue with the water system there being in storage.
Okay, so we've addressed their letter, okay.
I've gone through the whole town looking for the proper place, and really, other than the old public school grounds, there's no better spot, to be honest with you. So it's very central, very easy to get to, right on the bus route even.
One other
Steve?
item for the rink, if possible, maybe staff was thinking, maybe having a assigned project manager.
Okay,
Like volunteer?
I would probably put my name in for that, actually.
Just in case there's any questions or
Yep.
concerns, we have an individual to go to.
So all in favor? I'm not sure if this is the right way, but of proceeding with the outdoor rink prep. Assuming we can address all these concerns with the Golden Age Club and keeping it as a skating rink only for the time being. All in favor? Everybody? Carried. 7.12 transit agreement. Draft motion, whereas the current contract for transit services was set to expire December 31st, 2022, and an RFP for services was posted. And whereas after review of the bids submitted, Temiskaming Shores awarded a 3-year transit contract to 947-465 Ontario Limited AO Voyago, as recommended by the Transit Committee. Be it resolved that council approves of the awarding of the contract and remains committed to the partnership with Temiskaming Shores to provide transit services. Can I get a mover? Doug? Seconded by Pat. Discussion on that? Steve?
Your worship.
Yep.
I got a call late today from Amy Vickery from Temiskaming Shores. They are doing up a news release, and I'll read the news release for you about today. City of Temiskaming Shores continues to work with Voyager to launch Temiskaming Transit. Voyager has provided a progress report noting an incredible positive response to driver and supervisor recruitment with a solid onboarding plan. All other aspects of the contract are well organized and on schedule. Alternative transportation options are being organized, however, at this time. Temiskaming Transit wishes to inform the transit ridership there will be some delays or disruption in the service in the first half of January 2023. And all persons should plan accordingly. A taxi service will be made available for this period, running the typical transit routes or as required to get some to and from where they need to be. Please note, during peak times, there may be wait times and people may be prioritized as seating will be limited. Riders are strongly encouraged to have a monthly transit pass or purchase transit tickets to avoid any delays. Each trip will be in accordance with the transit fares. More specific details will be available soon. Every effort has been made to offer solutions, and we ask for your patience and understanding during this transition. All parties continue to strive for full service as soon as possible, and updates will be posted ongoing as they become available. Mayor Jeff LaFreniere. So it's 2 to 3 week delay with that. But your transit passes will work.
It's getting there.
Doug?
I just asked, what about the cost of the taxis to the individual riders? They got a ticket to get a ride, or,
Mhm.
and how many taxis? I think we've only got one running. in the area,
They're
so-
gonna be having a couple more going. Yeah, like I said, this just, I got at 5 p.m.
Mm,
I'm just wondering,
That's why I hadn't seen it yet.
yesterday when I caught the bus, we had 10 riders got on from Cobalt, so it was,
Yep.
it was busy enough. And that was mid-afternoon when it's supposed to be slow.
Mhm.
Any other discussion on that, guy?
Hope we get it up and running as quickly as possible.
Special thanks to all those guys who drive for them, eh?
They're sealed here.
Can I get a vote on that, please? All in favor? Carried. Items for council's information. 7.13. Armand Lemoyne's resignation from the library board on December 31st, 2022. Seven point 14. Ministry of the Environment, Director's Order, Amendment number 1. ROGQN, Cobalt Constructed Wetland Assimilative Capacity Study. Draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the items for council consideration. Information as presented by, can I get a mover, please? Harry? Seconded by Doug. Discussion. Huh?
Well, I'm glad to see that, that we got the extension, we have squeaked through so many times, but I really, you know, we've got to get the town crew down there to get the work that needed to be done. You know, as soon as they can close things out in the spring and, you know, it's got to be done. It's got to be brought up to date, because if it isn't, it's been going on for so long. One of these times, they're just going to say no. And what's going to happen then is that we're going to be bearing part of the cost for a big, huge concrete structure down in there to clean the water supply. When this does work pretty well, but it just hasn't been kept up in the last few years. The guys keep ignoring it, or someone isn't giving them the direction to go down there. And we did find out one extra thing. I don't know whether you guys all picked that up, and I went, oh, when I read it. I don't know why it never occurred to me or to our advisor up in Haileybury there, that once those plants die, they've got to be taken out of there, because all the nasties that they absorbed when they were growing and cleaning our water for us, once they die, those chemicals are all coming back out. And that was a little, you know, part of our pollution problem coming out of it. So that really means it's got to be looked into first thing in the spring, and probably clean those berms fixed again. You know, the recording charge, everything's got to be done right, and because I'm actually amazed that you know, that the North Bay has waited so long and let us go on so long, because this whole project is such a big step forward that can be done. If we can get it right in the end, then it can be moved to and set up by many isolated communities and clean their water before it goes back into their lakes and everything, because it's such a simple thing once, and we've been allowed at least 15 years is it 20 years it's been going on of testing and revamping and revamping? And so it does work, it will work, and if we can get this approved for at least a level 1 sewage treatment plant, then the knowledge can be exported to other small remote communities.
Oh, Doug, sorry.
If I could, I would really like to have Story Environmental come and give us a presentation on how they see the development of this project going. They've had their fingers in it since its inception,
Yes.
and there's an awful lot of good science
Mhm.
on trying to see what's doing. The assimilative study was seeing whether or not it did in fact have to keep replacing the old berms, or
Mhm.
we had enough plants in there now that it might actually overcome that. But it's just such a fascinating thing, and I really think Maria could really give us a good insight into it.
Can you reach out to Maria, please?
You get to find out the whole mechanics.
That's, I was gonna ask, I
Yeah.
don't know anything about, I don't really know much about it, and that's,
Yeah.
I need a better understanding of the system we have now before I can.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, can I get a vote on that, please? All in favor? Carried.
Mostly dirty water and clean water.
Bylaws and agreements. 8.1, bylaw to appoint a deputy mayor. Draft motion, be it resolved that bylaw number 2022-26, being a bylaw to appoint Douglas Wilcox as deputy mayor, be taken as read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 20th day of December 2022. And further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Can I get a mover? Jim? Seconder? Carrie? Any discussion on that? All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
8.2, bylaw to amend traffic and parking bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2022-27, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2021-32, traffic and parking, to add a designated municipal parking lot on the east side of Silver Street, be taken as read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 20th day of December 2022. And further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by mayor and clerk. I get a mover on that. Doug, seconder. Gary? Any discussion on that? All in favor? 8.3, bylaw winter operations plan. Draft motion, be it resolved that bylaw number 2022-28, being a winter operations plan, be taken as read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 20th day of December 2022. And further that bylaw number 2014-47, being a 2014-2015 winter operations plan as amended, be repealed. And further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Can I get a mover on that one? Doug, seconded by Pat. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 9, unfinished business. Nothing there. 10, new business, schedule of accounts. Schedule number 2022-20 in the amount of 145 and 163,052 cents. Schedule number 2022-21 in the amount of $115,078.06. Schedule number 2022-22 in the amount of $354,243.84. And schedule number 2022-23 in the amount of $948.12. 11, closed meeting. Draft motion, be it resolved that council convene in closed session as per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended in, sorry.
On this schedule of council.
As per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001, as amended in order to adjust the matter pertaining to subsection 3.1, educational or training sessions, council training, and 2D, labor relations or employee negotiations. Am I gonna move her on that? Gary, seconded by Doug. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Good. Business arising from closed meeting? None. Confirmation bylaw. Draft motion be it resolved that bylaw 2022-29 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, the corporation of the town of Cobalt be taken as read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 20th day of December 2022. And further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Can I get a move on that? Pat, seconded by Doug. All in favor? Carried. Adjournment. Draft motion be resolved that the regular meeting of council be adjourned at 10:12. I get a mover and a seconder. Doug and Gary.
It's my favorite motion.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you, folks.